Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks Sunday stream of consciousness. How's everybody doing on this great Sunday, March 1st? We're so happy to have the month of February behind us. 52 degrees yesterday here in upstate New York. We're happy. We got some snow again today. Not much, but we're getting there. That sun is warm in the sky, high in the sky. We're loving it. But welcome, everybody watching this morning on the McGrath Podcast Network, NPN, everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the groups that allow us to share later on. We thank them for their support. Specifically, you see our favorites, some of our favorites anyway, scrolling. I can only show so many. We have a lot of favorites, but our top favorites, John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings from America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball, Flo and Can over at Bottom Line Sports. Let's Talk Sports. Great bunch of shows there. Just like on the McGrath Podcast Network, check out all the shows there. Check out the shows on Let's Talk Sports. Ken Krause over at Golf Buds, Sports of All Sorts. And a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media, specifically the Sports Corner that he does on Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday, 4 to 6. That's what I said, didn't I? With Smoke and Jim Fraser. That's what I was trying to get in. So good to have you guys with us. Lots to talk about today. We got Major League Baseball stuff to talk about. WBC starts in a couple of weeks. Bruce Framing passes away. We had a heated discussion about ABS on Friday. Danny Fuller missed, if you're with us, Danny. The NFL, we got the Combine, if you're interested in such things. Again, there'll be there's some freakish athletic ability being shown by guys like the quarterback from Arkansas, whose name is escaping me at the moment. I don't know why. I just had him here, and now I lost him. I want to say his name is Green. That's not right, is it? Whatever. We'll take a look at that. Who might have helped? Who might have hurt themselves? We can talk about that stuff. Free agency is coming up. Franchise tag deadline is the 3rd, and free agency starts on the 11th. We can talk about that. Your teams, who you think will go where. My team doesn't have a lot to be concerned about. Chason, I think, is the major guy that we stand to lose unlimited free agency. But there's other stuff we can talk. Jerry Jones says he's going to go crazy in free agency after 30 years of not winning a Super Bowl or being in a Super Bowl. We'll see whether that's going to be accurate or not. I saw a little article about Mendoza and where he might compare with the guys who have come out the last 5 years. NBA, Lakers, and LeBron. Is he going to stay? Are the Knicks contenders? The Celtics back? Who are the contenders and the pretenders if you want to get in the NBA? We haven't talked a lot about NBA. The Spurs are starting to push OKC. It may piss them too. For the best team in basketball, maybe. And we had some big games in college basketball yesterday. Gonzaga loses. Florida State wins big over Arkansas. Big win for them. St. John's with a big bounce back after getting blown out by UConn. I'm sorry, getting blown out by UConn and beating Villanova big yesterday. Miami of Ohio survives a scare, remains undefeated. Again, are they going to get in that large bid if they lose in their conference tournament? Don't know. How about Trump's sports panel? Is this panel going to accomplish anything? I just don't know. I really don't. What else? And we got other stuff we can talk about, but it's your show, guys. Your show's going to go as far as you take it, as always. Paul Spada, good afternoon. Speaking of the NCAA, I wanted today, I promise I'll try to see if I can get the bracket set up and post to my site and to the TGI Sports Talk page and my page on Facebook, and have you guys share it so we can get a lot of guys in if you could. That'd be great. CA's with us. Good morning. Good morning, CA. Another guy's voice who I heard for the first time the other day. Good guy, CA, loyal follower for a long time. Hello, Chris. I believe that's Chris when I look at that. I got my older glasses on today because I was having a little problem with my, newer ones. I need new glasses anyway. My granddaughter likes to rip them off my face. These are much sturdier. Good morning, Danny Fuller. Good to have you with us. Danny, you shouldn't have been here for the MLB Update Friday. And I know people have lives, so that's not an admonishment, by the way. But we had a very heated debate about myself and JB. Hope JB comes in this morning because we just ended up in a very heated debate, not about ABS necessarily, because I've lost my argument. The umpires are going to be that bad. We had a very heated debate about replay in general and how it's been bastardized and how we don't need it. But I know, because I know I'm in a minority in that when it comes to that. Anyway, we're talking about baseball. CC Sabathia is getting his 52 retired. Did we retire too many numbers? I love CC. Great competitor, an all-time great Yankee competitor. All-time great Yankee? I don't think so. We're still talking, obviously salary cap money's coming into play. I talked about the WC happening. Bruce Fromming, I want to say rest in peace, Godspeed, one of the great MLB umpires of all time. Umpired, I think, for 37 years, third on the all-time list of games umpired, 11 no-hitters umpired. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Bruce's family and friends. So, Godspeed. John Birdie comes up twice in 2 days, 3 days. John Birdie, still an odd free agent. John Birdie can do one thing, though. He can run. He can play a few positions. He's a decent utility player. I would expect him to sign somewhere this spring. Once teams start to solidify their rosters, I think Birdie will end up somewhere or early in the season. Gifted stolen base artist. He's modified, not one of the modern new play of the game stolen baseman. Listen, there aren't really guys who are really good stolen base people today. They've manufactured, as Chris is kind of alluding to, and Birdie, I'll give him the benefit of doubt that maybe he's not like the rest. But much of the increase in stolen bases in Major League Baseball is a manufactured event, right? By shortening the base pass, limiting the number of times you can throw to first base, and even a pitch clock. So, John Birdie, John Birdie can play in the Yankees bench. I got a guy who can run in Calabaro, so we don't need him. Danny, Pistons. Danny would be fine with the Pistons went in. He's okay if the Knickerbockers never win another title during his lifetime. I agree 100%. I'm not going to stop rooting for my team because they wronged Tom Thibodeau. You're preaching to the choir, though, right? When I said they should not fire Tom Thibodeau, that might sound funny coming from me when I call for Aaron Boone to be let go. But listen, Tom Thibodeau did not have the same issues I have with Aaron Boone. Tom Thibodeau was not afraid to hold players accountable. One of the reasons he gets fired 4 times now. Tom Thibodeau did great things for this franchise. It should not be let go. I'm not going to stop rooting for my team, right? I mean, I'm sure the Lakers fire unfairly, and you're not going to stop rooting for them. Are you a Clippers fan? Or remember? Too many teams in LA, apparently. Unless Mike Brown wins a championship this year, then yes, they did Tom Thibodeau wrong. And I said that. No offense to Mike Brown. They're not playing as well this year. The defense is disjointed. I don't know that I like the effort night in and night out from Downs. They still rely too much on Brunson at crunch time, and I'm not sure I like what I'm seeing here. I got them down on the pretender list, by the way. Contenders in the NBA. I've got the Pistons, the Celtics, the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets. Great game by the Nuggets in and the OKC the other night. By the way, did you see the dust up with Joker and Lou Dant? I guess his name is. Joker looked like he wanted to kill somebody. He looked like he was a freaking mass murderer. I think Dunt's lucky that Jokic didn't get his hands on him, because I'm sure he's probably quicker than Jokic. I don't know. He looked like he wanted to kill him. But the Nuggets are still viable contenders in my mind. Knicks, Cavs, Rockets, Warriors, I think all pretenders. Hello, AC. Good to have you with us this morning. Good morning, all. Good morning, Rick. Good to have you with us. How about Aaron Glenn taking a nap during the combine? You know, lots been made of that, I guess. I mean, he says he was just resting his eyes. I could fall asleep. Maybe it tells you all you need to know about the combine, right? I got a couple questions about the combine, though. Bad look for Aaron Glenn, by the way. Don't fall asleep during combine. If it's supposed to be important enough for you to be there, you should be awake for it. I mean, I don't think that's any great revelation, is it? Sorry, these glasses are a little harder. I got to figure out where I'm looking here. Well, I got a question for. I understand guys don't participate, right? They go there and they do the interviews, like Ruben Bain, Fernando Mendoza. There's a bunch of guys who top names who did not participate in drills. Why would Carnell Tate go there, not participate and run any routes, catch any balls, but run in the 40 and really leave a bad taste in people's mouths? Based on, and again, I'm not saying you should judge a guy in his 40 or his vertical leap. If we did, this kid I was talking to you about from Arkansas would be jumping up to number 5 in the draft, because he gets the Anthony Richardson Award for let me find this kid's name again. Taylon Green. I had Green. I didn't want to say it. Didn't sound right. Taylon Green gets the Anthony Richardson Award for the combine this year because he runs the fastest 40 ever for a quarterback, jumps higher than any quarterback. And what does that really mean? Does your quarterback need to be the fastest guy in the field and jump higher than anybody else? Special teams players, maybe. But I get it. You go there, you don't participate. Fernando Mendoza wants to participate. I think Amari Cooper, or not Amari. Is it Amari Cooper? Who's the wide receiver for Indiana? Isn't it Cooper? Bear with me 1 second. It's going to come to me. Jordan Tyson's another guy not participating, by the way. Omar Cooper, sorry. He did participate. And Fernando Mendoza said he wasn't participating because he wanted to participate at the Indiana invitational, if you will, so that he could throw to his own receivers and spotlight them. Well, he spotlighted himself pretty well, by all accounts. I didn't watch a single second. If every channel on my TV was broken, I wouldn't watch the combine. I just wouldn't. So I'll read the reports and the analysis of the players. That's good enough for me. I don't need to sit and watch guys run the 40 and jump. I can't think of anything more boring to do. Now, Green might have got himself into the draft because he was projected. I can't do the math very well. Let me see. How many teams are there in the NFL? 32, 228 divided by 32. Borderline 7th round draft pick. He might have got himself into the draft. He's not going to be vaulting himself into the first round unless there's some dumb GM out there. Brewers owners once had a CC Sabathia bobblehead night. Yeah, well, bobblehead nights are fine. It's certainly a lot different than retiring their number. And most of the Yankees, I'm okay with. Listen, I don't know that Roger Maris should Reggie have his number retired by the Yankees? He played 5 years there. He won as many World Series. He won more World Series with Oakland than he did with the Yankees. Listen, I enjoyed Reggie's time here with the Yankees. They were very successful. He's not an all-time great. Rick agreed my take on who should and shouldn't have their number retired. I was close. I mean, Jack and I had a couple discrepancies, and I could do every team, I guess, if we wanted to at some point. Maybe we'll do that on the MLB update. But we talked about the Yankees retired numbers, and I'm fine with guys. Here's the guys, the full list. Billy Martin, no. Billy made one great catch in a World Series. Billy managed them to one World Series victory. Got fired 5 times. No. Derek Jeter, yes. Babe Ruth, yes. Lou Gehrig, yes. DiMaggio, yes. Joe Torre, yes. I'm sorry, Jack and I had a big disagreement on this one. He won 4 World Series in 5 years. Yes. Now, I don't know that Joe McCarthy, Casey Stengel's on this list as well, and Casey should be on here. Yogi Berra and Bill Dickey, yes. Sorry, Mantle, yes. Roger Maris. Listen, Maris set the all-time home run record with the Yankees, won back-to-back MVPs. Wasn't here a long time. Another guy was here 5 or 6 years. Not sure he should have his number retired. And if you're going to retire to 9 for him, you better retire for Greg Nettles, who Jack also doesn't think he should have. I think he should. Phil Rizzuto, I'll give you Phil Rizzuto. Munson, absolutely. Ford, absolutely. Posada, no. O'Neill, no. Really good players, a great team, but that team was what's the saying that they're better than the sum of their parts, or the sum of their parts are whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about. That was a great team made up of very good players who knew their jobs and played the game the right way. They played good defense. They pitched solidly. They threw strikes. They played great fundamental baseball. They were timely hitters. Todd Mattingly, absolutely. Elston Howard, Jack caught me around to his because he was the first Yankee first black to be a Yankee. The Yankees broke their own color barrier with Elston Howard, and he was a fine player for a good period of time. Won an MVP. So I reneged on Elston Howard. Casey Stengel, yes. Mo Rivera, no brainer. Reggie, no way. Andy Pettit, no way. If Andy played his whole career here, I might look at it differently. Ron Guidry, I love Guidry. No. Bernie Williams, love Bernie. No. And CC, no. So there you go. Listen, there's different reports about LeBron and Lakers. There's a report that the Lakers want him back for another year at a much reduced salary, so that could be a stumbling block. Where do the Lakers stand now? They haven't been playing well. I know they won the other night, but they've been fading badly. They had lost 3 in a row. Before then, they've fallen to 6 in the West. Pretenders. And I'm not sure that LeBron and isn't that terrible? Bear with me a second while my 40-year-old brain, or 40-year-old, there you go. I'm nuts because I don't even know how old I am. Oh, Donick. Jesus Christ, Luca. My God. I'm not sure that they really coexist the way you'd want them to. I'm just not sure. Ow. Now, with that said, Jesus, I got a thumbnail coming off, which I won't show you because it's disgusting. I jammed it somehow the night we returned from vacation. The thumbnail wants to come off, but it's not all dead. I usually keep a Band-Aid on it, and I just caught it on my shirt. Ouch. Playing hurt today. Listen, you can say what you want about LeBron. LeBron's one of the top 5 players in the history of basketball. I don't care what. You guys can. I know people hate on LeBron for whatever reason. He doesn't always get it. I understand. You just want to look at his pure ability on the court, which, again, if you want to judge players, all-time greats, you have to kind of look at their don't judge them by what they do off the court. I can do that as far as who I want on my team. So I can be a bit hypocritical, if that's what you want to call it. I would want LeBron on my team. I wish LeBron would made his way to the Knicks at one point. Because I'm pretty sure LeBron, even though one was in a bubble, LeBron's won a championship every place he's been. LeBron can take his wannabes. Why do we hate LeBron? Do we hate him just as a Laker today, or do we just think LeBron is not that good? Because that's just not a smart argument. Just not. LeBron at 40 plus years old is still better than 90% of the players in the league. Now, do I think the Lakers should give him a statue? No. I mean, he's been there about the same amount of time. Maybe he's been there longer than Reggie was a Yankee, but I mean, Riley should get his statue. Riley, I think, deserves that statue. I don't know what you feel, Danny. Another interesting thing about Riley was pretty adamant about his, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this, because even though I shoot down your opinions sometimes, I value your opinions. Riley was very adamant in the fact that coaches should go back to wearing coat and tie. Get away from the Keith Engle look, if you will. I'm not going to make an argument because I'm the guy who wants to be as casual I can be. Right? I'm wearing my comfy clothes anywhere they'll let me in with them. Which in about 14 days will be shorts and a top. And I'm going anywhere I can with that. Austin both cheered and booed at last night's game. Where was he at home in Toronto again? Toronto fans. Austin Matthews is an American, right? Played on the U.S. Olympic team, won a gold medal, and went to the White House. You people, if I was Austin Matthews, I'd get out of freaking Toronto as soon as I could without my contract. You don't want me here? Fine, I'll take my talents elsewhere. Now, you might argue you haven't done anything for us anyway, as far as championships and whatnot. Toronto fans showed their ignorance to me the other day. As has, by the way, everybody else who wants to get. Now I'm going to take a little turn here, which I know I promise I won't do it, and then I do it. But anybody who wants to put down the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team for going to the White House and participating in the propaganda stunt pulled by our president, just shut up. Megan Rapinoe, shut up. Nobody cares what you have to say. I want to live in a world of Jack Hughes and not Megan Rapinoe. Sorry. It's got nothing to do with who she is as a person. She can identify any way she wants. She can live her life any way she wants. But I don't have to agree with the nonsense that comes out of her mouth. Okay? Shut up. It's funny. They did a funny bit last night on SNL with a couple of the women hockey players, and the Hughes brothers were there, and they made a funny joke about getting an invitation to Saturday Night Live and not the White House. They got an invitation. They decided not to go. The whole thing about, I'm sorry, ladies. You were not disrespected. You were invited, and a joke got made about woke Democrats, not about women. You guys just blow everything out of proportion. Anyway, if I'm Toronto, you should. What's he supposed to do? Not play? Not go and celebrate his victory? Come on, just stop. One thing I really like about Tibbs, the fact that he holds players accountable 100%. And it's a mistake. Danny's not wrong. They did Tibbs wrong 100%. And the only way I will change that opinion or modify it even is if Mike Brown wins a championship this year. Because you told me we got a better chance of winning with him than Tibbs. I don't see it right now. I see a team that's disjointed. I see a team that doesn't show up to play every night. I see a team that at this point during the season with Tibbs would be hitting another gear, not still playing like they would be playing in October. CA College Classics ends today. Rangers go life triple. Vermont against Tennessee, UCLA, and Mississippi State. That's got to be the women, right? ASU and Texas A&M. Been a lot of great matchups in college basketball recently. I'm telling you, watch out for Florida. They're on a roll. They won their 9th straight, I think, yesterday, and gave John Calipari the worst defeat of his career. And that was to number 20 ranked Arkansas, who I like a lot right now coming out of that Southeast Conference. St. John's with a big win. How about Miami of Ohio? Miami of Ohio is solidly on the bubble as an at-large team if they should fail to win the MAC tournament. Again, Danny, and you can comment. I'm serious, right? The 28-0 is 28-0. I can only play the teams. You said I said something different. I didn't. I basically said the same thing. Unless I misspoke, which if I did, I apologize. What I meant was this. They're 28-0. I don't care who they played. And they also don't get the chance to play other teams because other teams outside of the MAC will not schedule them. Or teams like Miami. It's very hard today, partly because of the size of these leagues. And partly because of, I don't want to have bad loss, what looks like a bad loss on my record. They're not going to schedule a lot of these non-conference games against the Miami of Ohio, and they're certainly not going to go to Miami to play. So, anyway, some interesting turns of events here yesterday. Kentucky and, Virginia with a bad loss, but they're going to be in. I was looking at, where's my scoreboard? Damn it. Lost my scoreboard. Oh, it's way over here. That's why. Big wins for Kentucky yesterday. 2 teams on the bubble, Clemson and Kentucky, I think may have played their way into the tournament yesterday, unless they have really bad appearances in the tournament or something out of the ordinary happens the rest of the season. Kentucky beats Vanderbilt, number 25 Vanderbilt yesterday. I think they've sealed the deal for themselves. And Clemson gets in, I think, with their win over Louisville yesterday. But back to Miami of Ohio, why wouldn't just to say they win the rest of their regular season games, let's say I don't know what the record could be, 31-1 if they lost the championship game in the MAC. They shouldn't get in. But a team that's, I don't know. Let me look at one of these teams that's on the bubble. In one of the big conferences. Let me look quick and just pull out a team. Arizona State, it's on the bubble. 6-10 in conference. 15-14 overall. I don't think they're really on the bubble, but they were listed as a bubble team by Joe Lenardi this week. USC, 7-11. Indiana, 8-9 in conference. These are bubble teams, guys. Where's the SEC? I feel like there was somebody there, too. Auburn, 6-10. Really? So we should consider these teams, but not a 31-1 or whatever the record might be, if they should lose in the tournament. Come on. Bobby Orr went to the first trial camp for Colton. Orr was for Colton Orr. Sorry. He was asked endlessly if Colton was his son. Bobby replied no. Then continue to compliment Colton on his playing style. Interesting. I would find it hard to believe that Bobby Orr, who's probably got to be almost 80 years old, would have a son young enough to be getting started in hockey. Rick, I watch Korean baseball during COVID as well. I can't watch a combine. I mean, it's like, oh my God. I'd rather watch the Yule log. Just saying. Oh God! What am I really seeing? Guys run fast and jump high? Is that? I mean, I get to see the quarterbacks throw, I guess, a little bit, but so what? Rick, you said yourself they're in shorts and t-shirts. To me, this means nothing as far as like football ability. God bless a few guys who are going to improve their chances of getting drafted, or even, being an undrafted free agent later on because of their performance here. I think the most important things here might be, and somebody call them psychological evaluations. That's what they are. The interviews are really psychological evaluations. What they call them? They used to call them something else. Remember when Vince Young had the worst? Was it Vince Young? I think had the worst score ever. But they called this test something else. I can't, or maybe they still do this test. Somebody remind me what the testing was called. Hello, Donna. Good to have you with us out down there in the great state of Pennsylvania. He doesn't have him top 5 on his team. God. You mean the Lakers itself? Listen, you want to look just at plain numbers. John Havlicek might be the most underrated player in the history of the NBA. He's got more titles. He's got, I think, as many points as Michael Jordan. All his metrics, when you look at numbers that we use to judge players by, or have historically, certainly match up with Jordan's. But he's not even in the top. Where is he ranked historically? I had this conversation with Jack a few weeks ago on a show that we taped. Havlicek. I don't know how I got on this. We're really ranked all the time. Top 20 to top 30 player all time. I think he's better than that. 8 all defensive teams, 8-time NBA championship, Finals MVP, 11-time All-NBA. When he retired, he was 3rd all-time in points, 5th in assists, 1st in games played. How is he not a top 10 player? What's that got to do with how he plays basketball, Rick? I'm not. Ty Cobb's one of the worst people ever to walk the face of the earth. He's a Hall of Fame baseball player, and there's no arguing about that. He was a blatant racist and a horrible person overall. As are many other people. O.J. Simpson killed 2 people. He's a Hall of Famer. He's still one of the greatest running backs ever to play the game. You can't take that away from him because you don't like what he does off the court. You can say you don't like him and you don't want him on your team. I do that. I do that a lot. But you also have to give the guy credit for what he does well, and he's one of the top 5 basketball players of all time. I don't like when he takes China money and talks about the U.S. I don't like any of that. But if we can't separate these things, we might as well just get rid of sports now altogether. He's wrong in his opinions. I have very strong opinions, as we well know on this show. And if you follow me on Facebook, I've got myself in trouble more than once with people I care about and some I don't care about. But I respect everybody's opinion. Everybody has a right to be wrong. And he's wrong. That says nothing about his basketball ability. What you wrote there, nothing. I already said you're going to say that. I predicted that. I have this uncanny ability to remember. Rick, I got to message you too. I hope you're doing well after your dental surgeries, and maybe we can make a plan to get together. I don't know, maybe this week. You can tell me how wrong I am. I'm on a roll every morning, Donna. You know what's good about Sundays is I get a lot of this anger out, man. My wife has it easy the rest of the day because I'm not venting about sports or politics or anything else because I'm tired after the show. Taylor Phillips, how are you, my friend? Good to have you with us. Taylor hosts a great podcast, the Michigan Truth podcast, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Taylor, certainly put a plug up for yourself. Anybody who shows up here has a show. Is welcome to put in the comments a little plug for the show. I'm more than happy to help out my brethren. Taylor's out of Michigan. I know he does a lot of does some play-by-play work and has his Michigan Truth podcast. Brian, you're out there. You ought to check out Taylor. Taylor might be a good addition for the McGrath Podcast Network, actually. Something you should think about, Taylor. If you're interested, I'll put you in touch with Brian. UCLA's in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten, let alone a contender, and they would beat Miami by. I didn't say they wouldn't win. Listen, I have no illusions that Miami of Ohio is going to go out and win the national championship. But if you just want the 68 best teams, it's much like college football. If you don't want to reward conference play, then I don't know, stop playing it. I don't need to see. And by the way, UCLA doesn't fall into the category that I'm talking about, Danny, because I'm talking about teams that are like, being mentioned and they're 6-10 in their conference. UCLA belongs in a tournament. I would never say they don't belong in over. What's a Big 12? Where's the Big 10? Don't you guys? There you go. They're 11-7 in conference, 19-10 overall. Certainly a deserving and a very good team, and they probably beat Miami of Ohio 99 times out of 100. But why have the at-large team? I don't know. I don't want to watch teams that finish 6-10 in their conference in the NCAA tournament. I don't want to watch it unless they went out and won their conference tournament, which, by the way, I think we can do away with as well. We don't need conference championship games in college football, and we don't need postseason tournaments in college basketball. We played an entire season to determine a championship, and we're going to let 3 games decide who goes to the NCAA tournament. It's all about money. And you see teams that are 13-16 on a season going, having a good run for 3 days, and stealing a bid from a better team like Miami of Ohio, who deserves a chance to go and get shellacked in the NCAA tournament. It all depends on what you want, I guess. College baseball is underway. Big Ten matchups in Houston, Arlington Globe Life. No, that's college baseball you were talking about. Sorry, my bad. We talked a little bit about college baseball getting underway. Most of these teams have 5 or 6 or 7 games under their belt. We talked a little bit about those rankings on Wednesday night, but we'll be talking more college baseball as well. Wonderlic. That's it, Danny. Thank you. Wonderlic test. I don't think they even do it anymore. I'm sure that somebody determined that it was, was unfair to people. Rick's got it as well. Good job, guys. I'm a firm believer. My wife and I have a conversation almost every night during Jeopardy that at our age, I have not forgotten a single thing. I really believe every single person who learns whatever they learn in their life, you don't forget it. Your memory doesn't get worse. It just gets hard to find. The files are all there. You just can't pull them out. I mean, as soon as I see Wonderlic, I'm going, how do I not remember that? It's not that there's that much knowledge stored here either, by the way. How far behind am I? 9:33. Not bad. 8 minutes. Guys, if you're ever new to the show and you comment, don't get nervous if I haven't responded to your comment in 20 minutes, because sometimes we fall behind. I get on a roll, as Donna says, and the comments fall behind. Houston Rodeo. CA's all over it. Largest in the world starts tomorrow. Where's that? Can't be in the Astrodome. If it is, that's bad. Where is it at, CA? Oh, okay. That's fine. No, I commented. I know why we don't like him. And if I ask for you, again, I know why we don't like him. I don't like any of that stuff either. Fair enough. Again, there's a lot of great players in all sports that I wouldn't want on my team because I don't want them in the locker room. I don't want them to be part of the dynamic I'm trying to create on the field or court. But quite frankly, as a player, as a Knicks fan who hasn't won anything in 53 years, which Danny's really happy about, I would like to have had LeBron on my team one time. Look at Pete Rose betting on baseball, but he absolutely belongs in a Hall of Fame. You can't have a Hall of Fame without Pete Rose. I've said this forever, Don. I don't know if I've gone off on this tangent since you've been following us, but I'm a big believer that the Hall of Fame needs Pete Rose. The Hall of Fame needs Shoeless Joe Jackson. The Hall of Fame needs Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. But you just tell their story, warts and all. Banned for betting on baseball. Banned for using, or not banned. Use steroids during the second half of his career. However you want to tell their story, tell it. But Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were Hall of Famers before they ever used steroids. And the other problem is I don't know who else did and didn't use them. Everybody wants to say, well, they had a huge advantage over everybody else that wasn't using them. As far as I know, everybody was using them. So, again, do you want to reward bad behavior? No, but these guys would be Hall of Famers no matter whether they did steroids or not, which makes me angry that they even did it. But, no, Pete Rose, I've said for years, belongs in the Hall of Fame. But you don't just ignore what he did. It's on his plaque for everybody to see forever. Hello, Matt. Out in Orange County, California. California just starting to outnumber us here. Get rid of the conference championship game, but it is still big money. That's the problem, right? Same way with the tournaments. I mean, they pack wherever. So the ACC, even though the ACC's down, or the Big Ten, or the SEC, wherever they're going to play their conference tournaments, those places will be full for 3, 4, 5 days. How many days? Well, some of these tournaments are full of leagues with 18 teams. But anyway, just say it's 3 or 4 days. I mean, you pack those stadiums. You get all that revenue. You got TV contracts that are paying you big bucks to play these tournaments and these conference championship games. So, yeah, I mean, it's very hard for me to see us going backwards. Football would be perfect. Get rid of everybody wants the college season and the championship to be played as close to, say, January 1st as possible. New Year's Day is probably not feasible to be done, but January 8th or so is certainly feasible. But to do that, we need to eliminate the conference tournament games, and we need to start playing the season on week 0, right? We have football games anyway. So move the whole season up a week. No more week 0. We start with week 1 a week earlier. Even Army-Navy said, not Army-Navy, but Army, I mentioned this on the college sports huddle the other night, and I may have mentioned it last week, that Jeff Monken from Army is amenable to moving the Army-Navy game to Thanksgiving weekend. Navy hasn't commented yet, as far as I know. But they want to find a way to protect their 3 or 4 hour exclusive window, which I'm all for. For years, I wasn't for moving this game. I wanted to have them to have that stage to themselves. The realities of college football don't allow for that anymore. They're already playing a game after their conference championship game that they play in a conference now, both of them. They didn't for the longest time. They both play in a conference, the same conference. I mean, they could be technically playing that game after one of them has earned a playoff berth. They've both been in the running for a playoff berth the last couple of years. One or the other or both. So I think moving that game now makes sense. If you did that, now you're able to move and get rid of the championship games. You've gained 2 weeks. You can gain 3 weeks on the other end by getting rid of week 0 and just playing week 1 that week. Now you're done by January 8th at the latest, even if you expand the tournament. If you don't expand it, you might get done by January 1st. Oh, well, this is just a generic coffee mug today, so nothing major. I'll try to remember, Donna. We'll be we're cruising to Alaska in July, so definitely got to find myself a new something new out there. My wife says I have to stop buying coffee mugs. Yeah, McGuire is a different case. I'm not sure. You see, I'm not putting McGuire in the same bucket as Bonds and Clemens, to name 2. There's probably others we could consider. I mean, Mark McGuire's never getting in. You didn't get in when they were voting on him. I don't think the veterans are ever going to put McGuire in, and I don't think he's really a Hall of Famer, quite frankly. Hit a lot of home runs. I don't know. You know, he was a decent defensive player at one point in his career. You know, I mean, I talk about how Armin Killebrew and guys who are, I was about to say guys who just do one thing, which is hit home runs, don't belong. But we got guys with low averages like Harmon Killebrew, lower averages like Harmon Killebrew in the Hall of Fame. Not a slam dunk, though. Not sure. 1983, Jimmy V, NC State. Changed basketball from just winning your league a team that would have never made the tournament at all. 100%. So they got on a run. They won their conference tournament, as Danny's pointing out. Talking to his phone, I have to kind of interpret what we're saying here. But I got to figure it out. They would not have been in the tournament. They get on a run and they beat the Houston Cougars, a team that was probably favored by 15 points in that game. And one of the great upsets in the history of college basketball. They had a lot of close runs all through that. As often happens, there's a great 30 for 30. Trying to think of the name of it. Danny, you might be able to help me out. Survive in Advance might be the name of it. This team wouldn't have been in the tournament. I mean, not that many years before. Well, probably 10 years before, maybe even maybe 8. If you didn't get in, if you didn't win your conference tournament, you weren't getting in. The ACC, using the example of NC State, back in 74, might have been as late as 74. Maryland and North Carolina State were the best two teams in the country. I think it was Maryland and NC State played a tremendous ACC championship game. They were the first ones to go to a conference tournament and have that determine their automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. They played a tremendous game. I want to say it was NC State and Maryland. I know Maryland was in it because Maryland didn't get a bid. They were the second best. They were ranked second in the country that year. Lost the conference tournament, didn't go to the NCAA tournament. There was only 24 teams at the time. It might have been a little bit earlier. It could have been 72 or 73. But I feel like it was that North Carolina State that went on to a team that went on to win the national championship over UCLA. I'm sorry, over Marquette. They beat UCLA in the semifinals. But again, different world, right? The ACC started these conference tournaments, and the rest of the country saw, wow, look at the people that show up. Look at the money TV paid to watch these tournaments be played. Yeah, I kind of liked it when it was played in, wasn't it JFK Stadium, when they called it at one point in Philly, wasn't it, Donna? All the years I was a kid, it was played in Philadelphia. Now they move it around the country. It's played in RFK Stadium. It's played, probably still played in Philly at some time. They may have played even at the Meadow. I think they played at the Meadowlands maybe this past year or recently. But it's hard to tell. We don't know where they play it because you're not going to remember. Who's going to remember the year and what year they played where? But I agree. Let's put it back in one place. How about playing it at Army and Navy? We can't get enough people in the stands, so. Wouldn't it be cool, though, if they played that game at West Point and Annapolis? That'd be kind of cool. Matt, New Tops Baseball is randomly putting in 52 Mantle. I did see this last week. I thought we talked about it, but maybe not. That would be amazing to get it. We talked a little bit about the Honus Wagner card that sold for what was that, a T205 or something? And Matt, who's our collector aficionado, sends me some great stuff. I have these cards all over. Matt sent me some great cards. Look at this card, Lou Piniella. Probably didn't show you last week. What a great card. Anyway, Honus Wagner card went for $5.1 million, $5.2 million. A week or so ago. And he had pointed out that they were also put into like cigar boxes. And there's only, we don't know, 10 of them? Was it 10 or so that they were distributed? And that card, or versions of that card, have sold for over, like 14 times for over $1 million in the last 8 or 9 years. I'd love to get one of those Mantle cards. I might have to start buying baseball cards again. I don't even know where you would go sell it. If I got a Mantle card, where would I go sell it? By the way, we had a lot of fun last week with the watch along, I guess we'll call it. Not something I do on my show. I got some good compliments from you guys. We had fun watching the Olympic gold medal game together last week. That turned out to be the show. I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll do more of those. CA and I were talking about the other day. I'm not going to do a lot of watch-alongs for football because I'm watching my team play. Or recovering from watching my team play. And I have to spend some time with my wife, or I'll be here in the dark doing this because I'll be asked to leave. Like Felix Unger, I'll be asked to remove myself, and that request will have come from my wife. Houston Rodeo main events take place at the NRG Stadium, with NRG Park Complex has several revenues and carnival areas. Pre-rodeo parade kicks off a 20-day spectacle competition. Best barbecue to steer wrestling. Oh, that's a competition best barbecue. To steer wrestling satisfies all tastes. So do I have to wrestle my own steer and then have it barbecued? CA, is that how that works? Listen, I love barbecue. I've not been to the great state of Texas is one of the few states I've not visited in this great union of ours. Regardless of what people think, because some people think this is still a great country. And one place I got to get to is Texas for their barbecue. Everybody thinks they got the best barbecue. I've been to some great places in the South. Kansas City kind of stands out to me right now, but got to get to Texas, I guess, before I can make a final analysis. Oh, Donna, you have a great Sunday too. See you in the morning. We'll see what Jack's fired up to about. Yes, it was JFK Stadium. That's what I thought. Concert time. Concert lineup is the key factor. Who's going to be there? Factor towards which day to brace yourselves for that big ass rodeo. They get a bunch of stars down there, do they, CA? I want to make sure that we get the NCAA tournament brackets. I'm going to try to get them done today. And then I can share them to I'll share them to the site and I'll let the group know. I'll send it. I'll even send the links in our group chat. Anybody who wants to get in our TGI Sports Talk group chat, feel free. Just know that, it can get a little hairy in there sometimes. That you got to have a strong backbone. You can't be easily offended. There's JB. Good morning, JB. No, that's I'm glad you brought that up, JB, because it stayed that way because I've done no focus on YouTube. It's funny you brought it up. Working a little bit with CA we will be working on it anyway in the coming months to rectify that. Facebook has been where my focus was from the beginning, and since we don't have a lot of comments here right now, I was going to kind of let it lay and not talk about it a lot going forward. But since JB brings it up, we're going to be working on that. We may have to do a new page. We don't know yet because it's been up so long with so little subscribers and views. I mean, I know how to, when I got started 6 years ago, Facebook was the place that I knew how to go join groups, and I can share to different groups, and they're happy to show the content, and we get tons of views. I mean, each one of these shows is going to get between 1,000 and 2,000 views, and we've been as high as 10,000. But the algorithms are getting different on Facebook. Quite frankly, they're really kind of Nazis here at Facebook, and I should probably be quiet. They do pay me a little bit of money. We have been monetized. We're not making much money. I mean, $20 I got sent to me last month. But I didn't know how to really focus or had the time, quite frankly, when I was working. One of the things I promised when I retired was I was going to focus on YouTube, and haven't really done it yet because I didn't know where to get started. You have a gazillion people, JB, as well. If you don't do Facebook, you may not know. Anybody who does these podcasts and posts them to Facebook, you have people and bots and everybody else. Some are real, some aren't. They're promising you all this optimization on YouTube, on Facebook, and I'm not going down that road. I'm not paying people to do this. I'm going to figure out how to, manipulate the algorithms myself. So anyway, we've grown to what do we got? It's like 80, right? 80 something, 88. I don't know last time I looked. But we'll get anywhere from, 0 or 2 views to 20 views. And we've had as many as 100 views or something, maybe even 400 or 500 views on YouTube without any without any effort. Sometimes I would go, I haven't in a while, I'd go on YouTube and I would share that to some of the Facebook groups from YouTube. But since I was focused on Facebook, I've used all those shares because you can only do it so many times and Facebook shuts you down. I've saved those shares for Facebook. So we've grown that to, almost 3,000 followers. And again, we'll get anywhere from, 1,500 to 2, 3, 4,000 views a show here, counting all the places I share it to. But I haven't really focused on YouTube, and we plan to do that. So you and I have already started a conversation a little bit, and we'll make that work. So we'll make that work. Strat Club yesterday with lost in the bottom of the ninth on Chili Davis's walk-off. Even in Strat, your Yanks haunt me. Listen, it's fun. I love that Stratomatic comes up sometimes on this show. So you're playing in person, right? JB, if I remember our previous conversations, that's pretty cool. I play Stratomatic's got a online presence where you can play individual seasons out. You can play mystery tournaments, mystery leagues, right? So or mystery teams. You draft. You have a salary cap, and you can draft teams based on that. I've got about 8 teams going right now because the mystery tournament started. I'm playing in a couple leagues that are 2-team tournaments where you start in the 60s and you draft two. You can draft 2 teams to use players from, but you still have a salary cap. And I'm playing another league that plays an entire decade, like the 60s. I just finished actually the 60s season. Will be starting it over, I think, because it was 69, so it was the last season. But you couldn't play a guy before he had a card on his mystery card. So if you started in 1960, let's say, only players who had a card from 60 or before could be eligible for the 60 season. In 61, you can add players who have cards from 61 on. And also, they can only play until they have a card that is in that year. So if you draft a guy in 1960 and his last mystery card is 1964, that's when his career ends. So you have to get rid of him. It's kind of fun. But I haven't played in person in so long, and I would love to do it someday. But I'm glad that Stratomatic lives on this. And I think I shared. Somebody wanted to know about it, and we should start our own Strato League in 365. It might be fun. I think Danny might have mentioned it. I know Paul might have. JB, if you're wanting to do it, it might be something I can look into doing. I'll have to have to figure out how to invite people. But maybe we put together a 12 guy league and figure out what we want to play. We can play. I play in another one that is like 24 guys. It's really hard. But the winner of the previous season gets to pick the card set that they play with the next time. Might be something that we could do. I love the 70s set myself. Good morning, Rocky. I didn't say good morning to you, Rocky. Sorry about that. Great to have you with us. Rocky, you do some podcasting, I think, too. And I've said, if you haven't heard, you're more than welcome to promote your activities in the comments, and I'll be happy to put them up. And these guys are really good. I know that, there's guys who have asked me in the past, aren't you hurting yourself by promoting other shows? I don't think so. I think I think these things, you get repaid for good faith in my world. Maybe not in the perfect world or the real world. But I enjoy giving back, and people come here, and there's a lot of places that have allowed me to share my show. Look, Bottom Line Sports, for instance, they started sharing my show, and then, Flo asked me for a shout out. I gave it to him. More than happy to do it. Sometimes I forget. I wish I could list everybody at the bottom. I've only got so many characters I can do. So, maybe what I should do is go back. I used to do it on this show, I think, or maybe it was a football show, maybe all the shows, I would pick a couple of groups and highlight them and put a comment up and ask people to go join the group. We helped John Gonzalez out immensely, I think. Again, I'm not patting myself on the back. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities runs the best group ever. And I feel like we've done a great job of driving people to it. Danny Fuller is one of the most active guys over there now. And I believe, and Danny, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you and John got together through TGI Sports Talk. So I'm glad that we were able to get people to join these sites. John is probably the best admin out there, but a lot of these guys are doing some great stuff. Creed on the 11th, you may go. You talking about Creed's Clearwater? I hope. I don't know Creed if it's not. Chris Stapleton, I love. Kelly Clarkson on the 14th. Lainey Wilson is absolutely the bomb. Tim McGraw is awesome. Good stuff. That's some great stuff. Tried 365 once, but we'll sub. What's that mean? You didn't like it? Yeah, it's hard. I mean, 365 is different than being in person, right? Because you manage your own team and you set parameters, but you're not calling the shots on every pitch and every play like you do when you're playing in person, and that's certainly the optimal way to do it. But don't have 12 guys, to get together and play a Stratomatic season here. So that's why I got into the 365. You play 3 games a night. You can set your strategies. But again, the computer takes over. The computer does some weird stuff, I can tell you. But it's fun. Keeps me out of trouble. Yeah, I thought so. John Gonzalez has been a supporter of this show since like the very beginning. One of the first group, probably the first group I ever shared a show to, was the Sports Authorities. And I don't remember how it happened. I think I might have joined the group, and John said I was more than welcome to share content. And he's allowed me to do that ever since. So we've shared thousands of shows over there. I was trying to figure out the other day how many shows I've done. Because somebody else posted it recently. So I'm going to say I've done an average of 4 shows a week times 52 times 6. That's not right. 4 shows a week times 52 times 6. That can't be right either. 4 shows a week times 52. That's 208 times 6. It'd be 1,248 shows. And I know it's probably more than that, quite frankly. If I count, if I add in the roundtables that I appear on and have on Northeast Streaming Sports, which is now the McGrath Podcast Network, I mean, you can add another 200 or 300 to that number. I guess we're around probably 2,000 shows, would be my guess. Interview shows that we've done in the past. And I've loved every minute of it. Never did I get up in the morning or Wednesday evening, when the only night we didn't do any shows, and said, oh, crap, man, I got a show to do today. What are we going to talk about? Now, there are times I go, shit, what are we going to talk about? But we always manage to find a way, because sports, especially this show is, because you guys have driven it content-wise. I mean, it's a little bit of a downtime as we're heading towards the NCAA tournament, so it's not really a downtime. We've got football to talk about in the combine. Do we care about the combine, by the way? We haven't talked about it a lot here at all. We talked about it for like an hour on the roundtable show this morning. Is it helpful? But we've always got content to talk about, and when we don't, we just kind of wing it. And the stream of consciousness takes over. But I've never once in those 2,000 shows said, oh, crap. And I hope that comes across, because there's days where, I get on a roll and I might be a little grumpier than other days, but that's my joy. Going back and forth with you guys is that's my joy. People say, "What are you doing in retirement?" This is what I do this. My grandkids, this, and travel. I love my life. Never thought, I'll be 66 here in a few months. And so I say I'm 66 because once the calendar turns, I'm in my 66th year. So I say I'm 66. My wife hates that. But I can remember, most of my life that seems to have flown by the way. We were talking about time yesterday. I have a very interesting rapport with time. But I have loved my 60s. It's been my favorite decade so far. Healthy, really was able to sock money away for retirement and then retired. And we've done a lot of traveling. My wife has been retired through most of my 60s. Maybe she worked for a year. But she's been retired, so she's free to do a bunch of stuff. Now we both are. She's the busiest freaking retired person I ever met, by the way. But I'm loving my 60s. Every decade, I feel like I've dreaded getting there, right? When you're young, you don't want to be 30. But then I loved my 30s. There were some turbulent years during my 30s, but I love my 30s as a rule. I didn't want to turn 40. 40 was really bad for me, worse than 50 or 60. But 40s end up being good. 50s were good. You go into all these new decades in life and you're worried about stuff you don't need to worry about. I've loved my 60s. Anyway, you guys leave me in my own devices. This is what happens. I start. Hey, JB, if you're still there, JB, oh man, I'll tell you, Matt, Spencer Jones is an interesting dilemma for the Yankees. There's no place for them to play him, at least at the moment. They seem reluctant to include him in trade discussions. He comes and he performs big in spring, and they ship him out every year. He's not getting that any younger. I think he's 20. I want to say he's 26 years old. I could be wrong. This is becoming an 6'7", 240 pounds. Sorry, he's 24 years old. I mean, he's going to hit Aaron Judge territory pretty soon as far as getting a late start. I know the Yankees haven't been crazy about his defense, and they're already down on Jason Dominguez a lot because of his defense, a lot because of his inability to hit left-handers. Maybe when Stanton's out of here, there'll be room for Spencer. But the Yankees just have not figured out what to do with him, and they've been reluctant to use him in trade talks, which they may have to do here at some point. I mean, they seem to be set at first base, obviously with Rice. But again, he's still got to reproduce what he did last year. They're certainly set in the outfield, at least for this year, because of Trent Grisham and that $22 million contract they gave him. The qualifying offer that he took smartly on his end, because he would not have gone out and got that elsewhere, I don't think. But Spencer Jones, for all his big home runs in spring training the last few years, keeps getting lost. Did he go to South Carolina? Where did he go to school? I feel like he's Vanderbilt. Sorry. There's been a pretty strong Vanderbilt connection with the Yankees through the years. So Spencer Jones has done some good stuff. The WBC starts up to kind of rehash some stuff we talked about earlier in the week. WBC gets started on the 5th of March. The U.S. is in pool. Where's my WBC page I had up here? Boop, 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 boop. That's not it. Free agents. Got to be before that then, right? You know, I open up stuff so I have it, and then I can't find the damn thing. There it is, WBC. So the Yankees are in Pool B, which is played in Houston. So their pool consists of Brazil, no problem, Great Britain, Italy, and Mexico. They get a pretty good draw in, I think, the pools. I mean, Mexico, I think, would be the best team that they would face, most likely. I mean, they've got some decent players. I didn't look at these the other day during the MLB. I mean, they got Ty Bradley pitching, Duarte, Tawan Walker, who'll probably get hurt during his tournament. Alejandro Kirk is the catcher. The infielders, they've got Arnada, Nick Gonzalez, fair players, Rowdy Tellez, Urias, outfield, Rosarina, Duran. Say the outfield is a decent strength for this team, coached by Benji Gill. But I don't see, Italy, Brazil, they're not going to be major contenders here. The toughest pool in my mind is probably got to be, two teams there in Pool D in Miami. You got Venezuela and Dominican. That'll be tough. I like the Dominican Republic to come out of that pool. Japan has got probably only competition maybe from Korea. Shouldn't have any trouble in Pool C, which is played in Tokyo. They have Australia, Taiwan, Czechia, and Japan. They should come out of that. And Pool A, Canadians better than you think. Panama, Cuba, Puerto Rico. That might be the best pool in my mind coming out of this tournament. Canada's going to be better than you think. They got Logan Allen on the mound. Who else did I have? I thought they had a couple decent pitchers. James Paxton, Quantrill, Wilkinson, James Tyon, Soraka. I got the Naylor brothers. Bo Naylor's one of the catchers, along with Liam Hicks. Obviously, Josh Naylor's playing first base. Tyler O'Neill's in the outfield. Again, is this team, Ernie, what's the manager? Are they going to compete? I don't know. But Cuba's always got pretty good team. Panama's better than you think. Puerto Rico's really good. Puerto Rico should come out of that Pool A in my mind. The USA should come out of Pool B looking for their second WBC championship. Japan should come out of Pool C. And I would say I think it's close between the Dominican and Venezuela, but I think the Dominican Republic comes out of that pool. So those games start on March 5th, which I'm looking forward to. I can't seem to get people hyped up for it here, but it's a good tournament. It's a lot of fun. Elsewhere in baseball, we were talking about some stuff here today. Max Scherzer signed with Toronto. The aforementioned Yankees looking for right-handed bats, not the left-handed bat of Spencer Jones. They signed Randall Grandel and I think he might be a productive right-hand bat to play here and there, especially when Stanton gets hurt. And just the other day, Starling Marte signed with Kansas City, one of the best remaining free agents, if you will. The ABS seems to be off to a fairly seamless start in spring training. It was inevitable it was going to happen. JB and I had a little debate the other day about ABS and replay in general. And, replay is what it is, and it's been bastardized in my mind. I'm not happy about it, but it's here to stay. And the ABS, I have no argument about it because the umpires have been so bad and done nothing to help make their brethren better. You know, we continue to allow guys who don't take their job serious enough to be to excel at it. So they put themselves in this position, and it's a slippery slope. It will continue to slide. We've still got the the looming lockout and potentially a strike looming over the 27 season. I do not today, as we sit, 11 or 12 months removed from that, I see very little chance there won't be a lockout. And I don't need a salary cap. Now, they did have some serious discussions about a salary basement where they had to come up to $160 million, which, by the way, isn't a lot in my mind. Let me look at, I think there was like 8 teams below that. Let's see if I'm right. So you got Miami, Cleveland, Chicago, Tampa Bay, Washington, a lot more actually than I thought. The Athletics and St. Louis, all below 100 million. Then you got Pittsburgh, who, by the way, made more money like any team in baseball in the last freaking couple of years. We need to be giving them more revenue sharing, right? So below that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Half the league almost. 14 teams are below that 160 point. And Baltimore's right at it. I'm sorry, Seattle's right at it, 161. And what's that tell you? Baltimore, other than last year's, had some pretty successful years. Seattle went to almost made it to the World Series last year. I mean, you can win with $160 million payroll. Who's winning below that? Milwaukee's been competitive, hasn't won anything. Cincinnati? No. Colorado? Absolutely not. Minnesota hasn't been that competitive for a couple of years now. Pittsburgh? No. St. Louis? No. But they've torn I expect theirs to build back up. They've kind of torn this roster apart. The Athletics getting better, but $100 million, you're not competing for anything. And maybe when you get to Vegas, it goes up. The Nationals, Tampa Bay, worked for a while. Why? Chicago, the reason the Chicago White Sox should be is the bottom 3 in payroll. Cleveland, Miami. Cleveland's had some success with a low payroll. Lombard is the most likely guy to move up. Let me just take a quick little look here. See if I miss anybody. George Lombard is probably the closest guy, and probably great. Can get what I want there. I mean, Spencer Jones, again, he needs a spot on the roster. He's probably the closest guy. Lombard needs to either the Yankees are going to have to change, his or Volpe's position. Sorry, Lace. Sorry. Kick the cat. Sorry. But other than that, let me just take a look at a couple of guys here. I mean, I think you could see Lombard during the season this year. It's quite possible. If there's injuries to Volpe, he doesn't play well, you may see Lombard get a shot. Didn't hit as much as they'd like last year. Didn't hit for a lot of power. He did have 24 stolen bases. He does play good defense. A lot of times these guys hit for more power once they get to the big leagues. They get better. Everything gets better. Equipment gets better. Condition gets better. Coaching's better. You got players that are helping you. The Lombard is the guy to keep an eye on for sure. The number one prospect came up last year, Cam Schittler. But again, they move a lot of these. They move a lot of these guys out of here. Let me look at a couple other guys. You do have another shortstop in Rodriguez Cruz. Spencer Jones, we've talked about. I mean, those are their biggest free agents, and there's pretty good free agents, prospects, but there's a pretty good drop off between after those guys down to guys like Lorang and Kirby, Hess, Cunningham. None of these guys are close to the major leagues. None. I mean, if you look at this, and major leagues often break these down into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. Yankees have like 3 guys in tier 1, nobody in tier 2. And then they've got a bunch of guys in 3, 4, and 5. Those guys aren't ready for the major leagues. Spencer Jones could probably make the Ben Rice jump, but there's no place to play him. And same with Lombard. So their positions are blocked at the moment unless injury or lack of production proves otherwise. I think Volpe is going to be under a big microscope once he gets healthy this spring. He may not start the season, by the way, but they're not going to start. They're not going to bring Lombard up for opening day unless he just somehow has an amazing spring and they can't say no. Dodgers have 2 players that make more than 10 teams. It's fair. Almost 1 player, Rick, when you look at it. Right? What's is Ohtani at 70 or 75? Because Miami's only at 73 million. So one guy is making nearly as much as the Cardinals, the Athletics, the Nationals, the Rays. The 2 guys combined make how many did you say? Yeah, more than 10 teams. Crazy. And I'm okay with that. Dodgers have the resources and the wherewithal, because you don't just need the resources, right? You need the wherewithal to actually spend the money. And then you have to spend it wisely. But until you're going to spend it, you can't make mistakes. And I think teams are just afraid to make mistakes. And by the way, a lot of these teams, and somebody pointed out, might have been JB, might have been somebody else. And I apologize, you can speak up if it was you. A lot of these teams that are at the bottom are the teams that are most profitable. The Rockies made like $116 million last year. Pittsburgh, I think, is the most profitable team over the last 2 years. Because they must subscribe to the Artie Moreno theory that fans don't care about winning. Artie Moreno, if you don't know, said he doesn't think it's even in the top 5 priorities for fans, winning. What freaking league are you in, Artie? No, I don't want the value. Not value. That's not what I want. Here it is. Let's check this. Oh, here I got to do math. So this is so the Mets, for instance, this is from I don't know if this is a good one or not. This is not a great graph because it's not year over year. This is a couple of years ago, too. Here we go. This is from 2025. So the Mets, for instance, and this has luxury tax factored in, made $44 million. The Dodgers, even with that huge payroll, cleared $203 million from the looks of it. But look at these teams that are at the bottom. Miami brought in 300. This is in 24, right? So it's a year old. This is 24 versus 25 payroll. $317 million to 86 million. 277 to 87 for the White Sox. These teams, they get revenue spending and then they don't spend the money. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that year had to pay luxury tax. The Mets, who made the playoffs in 2024. The Dodgers, we know what they've done the last couple of years. Toronto, we know what they've done the last couple of years. They only paid $10 million, by the way. Philadelphia, been a competitive team. The Padres, the Yankees, and the Red Sox. All teams that have been competitive most of the time that we're talking about. Those are the teams that paid luxury taxes. I wish they would show me who collected it. Yeah. What's this tax tracker show me? Show me what the teams collected. Tax. No, that doesn't help me. Crazy, though. I mean, you want a salary cap. I don't like revenue sharing either. These teams don't even try to get better. Tucker and Otani. Don't forget Yamamoto. You factor those 3 guys in, they're making more than half the league. You can move that number up to half the league. And again, I don't have a problem with that. Their total payroll for right now for 2026 is $381 million. The Mets are at 368, Yankees at 329, and Philadelphia at 311, and Toronto at 300. Now, what I'd like to see, I don't want to see salary caps. I want deferred compensation to go away. We don't need deferred compensation. You need to, today's team should be paid for today. Or this year's team should be paid this year. I mean, if you can just players out, out infinitum, Bobby Bonilla and Brett Saberhagen were the two. Bobby Bonilla is the poster child for it because of Bobby Bonilla Day. But Brett Saberhagen, when I had him on and talked to him, he actually had that in his contract before Bobby Bonilla. I don't know. And Brett's still getting paid, or he was at that time. So do away with that. Let's start there. Can we just start there? Nice job with the views today so far. Awesome. What's Matt got? Yeah, those lower teams need to spend. Their fans will miss games, go out and grab some good players. I agree, but when you got guys with the attitude that Artie Moreno has, who slashes payroll like, I don't know, below like 100, I want to say like 100, close to $100 million. Maybe that's a little bit high. But he says the fans don't care. Yeah, they do. Yeah, do they want affordability? Yes. But they also want to win. It certainly isn't their 6th priority, winning baseball. Because how are you going to be entertained by bad baseball? But when these teams go out, and they're some of the most, and again, JB brought this up too, it's a business, and they should be able to run it the way they want. I guess if fans keep showing up, to Matt's point, if fans keep showing up and watching it on TV and they're making money, they have no incentive to win. You know, growing up here where I grew up, where Giant fans were everywhere, New York Giant fans, football. I remember, and I wasn't a Giant fan. I was a Patriot fan from the time I was a kid. But there was always talking. The Giants were horrible most of the time. Late 60s, early 70s, all the 70s, into the early 80s. And a lot of the talk was they didn't need to win because they had, you know, a 25-year waiting list for season ticket holders. That's long before the time of seat licenses and whatnot. So the Giants were making money hand over fist. Plus, they had a lock on the New York market. Sorry, Jet fans. So they had no incentive to win. That was the argument. We're never going to get a winner just because we keep showing up. Well, stop showing up. I don't know what to tell you. It's a double-edged sword because you want to see baseball, but you want affordability. And you want winning teams. And if you're going to have teams with maybe those 70s Giants owners, well, it's the same owners they have now, or their mindset in the 70s, or Artie Moreno's mindset now that fans don't care about winners. I don't need to go spend on players when I can give them affordable tickets and I can give them a nice stadium and I can give them safety. All those things are important, but so is winning. But we can't keep giving these teams. I'm trying to find money that they got through the tax, and I'm not finding it. There's a tax bill for these teams, but I don't know who got it. Let's see if I can find it. But you're going to take, you know, tens of millions of dollars and stuff it in your pocket as profit. That's not free market enterprise. When you're making money off the success of the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees and the Philadelphia, or the spending of those teams, maybe not even their success. MLB teams collecting let's see if I can get this. Let's give me the teams that pay again. What? Collecting luxury tax. They don't want to give me who got the money. I know who paid it. Dodgers topped at 169. Mets 91. Yankees 61, Phillies 56, Toronto 13. So that's a little higher than the numbers I gave you a minute ago. Even the Astros paid at 1.5, Red Sox 1.5, the Rangers paid 190,000. Where did this money go, though? $402 million total, by the way. Oh, that's not working. Not who received luxury taxes. I want to see who got the money. All right, teams collecting. I'll put in revenue sharing. Oh, that's not helping me either. Isn't that terrible? That's TV revenue sharing. Yeah, can't find the right ones that I want. We know who the teams are. And we're finding out that the Rockies and the Pittsburgh and the Rays are making money hand over fist, but not making their teams any better. The Pirates go out and they make a show like look like they're trying to get better. But at the end of the day, are the moves that they made going to make the Pirates winners when they're going to lose Paul Skeens? We know either the free agency or a trade the next year and a half. Yeah, those teams need to spend. Their fans will miss. Oh, I already said that. Sorry about that. Got quiet out here today. That's enough baseball. We talked a little NBA, little Lakers. Knicks, I think, are pretenders. Danny talked about the fact that Tom Thibodeau was wronged by them, and I agree 100%. And the only way you'll disprove my thinking is if Mike Brown wins a championship this year. Maybe next year. I don't know. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Defense is disjointed. Who's the best team in the NBA? I think it's the Spurs. Everybody fell in love with OKC early in the year, the defending champions, and probably rightfully so. And they won 25 of their first 26 games, or 28 out of 30. Well, San Antonio's only 2 games behind them right now. They won 11 in a row, and they've beaten OKC, I think, both times they played them this year. If Wemby stays healthy, this team is probably I think they're the favorite in the West. Rockets, never buying into the Rockets. Kevin Durant's a great player. Not sure it's going to happen. By the way, who's the coach of the Miami? Eric Spoelstra, who is part of the coaching staff in 28 for the Olympics, really wants KD to play in 28. Be interesting to see the teams that they play. There's not going to be LeBron. There's not going to be a Steph Curry, most likely. You're going to see a lot of these younger guys stepping up and playing for the U.S. And by the way, the rest of the world is going to be catching up with the U.S., I think, unless these younger guys can fill the shoes of the KDs and the LeBrons and the guys that won't be there anymore. The Frances and some of these European countries are getting better and better because there's more and more guys coming from the NBA or to the NBA and coming back to play international basketball. The U.S. just got beat. And again, it wasn't the NBA players weren't playing. They just got beat in one of the international competitions here the last several weeks. The Nuggets, I think, are a legitimate contender. And again, I talked about Jokic the other day. Had a couple of big threes. They had a great game the other night against it was just a couple nights ago against the Thunder, which they lost 127-121. But it had a playoff feel to it. Jokic and what's this guy's name? Dort got into it from OKC, and you see Jokic's eyes, man. He looked like he wanted to kill someone. I'm sorry, unalive someone. We're not supposed to say kill on Facebook. Probably just cut my views in half. Because the Nazis over there are listening to everything that's going on, or at least their bots are. Scary situation. Minnesota, no. Lakers, I don't see as a playoff contender. The teams in the play in there right now, no. And the Warriors, by the way, are 31-29. They're playing in the play-in tournament. In the East, obviously the Pistons are for real. And they beat the bejesus out of the Knicks 3 games this year. They've averaged by an average of 28 points. The closest being 16. Celtics have come back nicely. Past the Knicks. Celtics are legitimate contenders. I don't see the Cavs as legitimate. I don't see the Raptors. I don't see the Sixers. Do I see somebody coming out of that play-in tournament? Not really. Miami, if I was going to pick somebody. I think you got 5 legitimate contenders. The Pistons, the Celtics, the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets. Knicks, Cavs, Rockets, Lakers, all pretenders. What do you got here, Rick? Did you see oh my God. That's as angry as I've seen a guy on a court, on a field, anywhere in a long, long time. So his eyes bug out. Don't trip a big man and expect no retaliation. He's trying to get healthy. And he's right. He's been hurt. Listen, Jokic is one of my favorite guys because he's a big guy, not in the best of basketball shape, I guess, if you would say. I mean, he could be big boned, as my grandfather would say, but it seems to be a little excess weight around that middle. But he's still one of the top 5 players in the league. And as long as he's on his game, the Nuggets are going to be contenders. I mean, they won the championship just 2 seasons ago, let's not forget. So they're not that far removed from being a champion. I don't think OKC is invulnerable. I can see the Spurs or the Nuggets potentially knocking them off. East is going to be a little bit more wide open. I mean, while the Pistons have played great and certainly played great against the Knicks, I want to see him get it done in the playoffs. That's all. I don't know what that was. What's this link? Oh, I see. Interesting. Something caught my eye. My ADHD caught in a little bit, so. I don't know, guys. If we got anything else, we didn't talk. I'm interested in what's going to happen, and I'll bring this up at the end of the show at the risk of getting myself in all kinds of trouble here. Let me get to the college sports. I don't quite understand what Trump is trying to accomplish. Not in Iran. I know what he's trying to accomplish there. Well done. Safety to our troops. Stay safe. I don't want to see any casualties, and it's probably ridiculous to think that we won't. Oh, it looks like Ahmadinejad was got killed in this raid too. If you remember, he was the former president who wanted to wipe Israel off the face of the map. In fact, he was famous for saying we're going after those who worship on Saturdays and then those who worship on Sundays, and you can imagine who he's talking about. Anyway, we hope the troops all stay safe over there, and we can end this fairly quickly. But this is something that needed to be undertaken. In any event, something that obviously needed to be undertaken as well was for the I say this with sarcasm, by the way, is college a roundtable. Trump is going to have this roundtable with the four major conference commissioners, and they'll join dozens of sports celebrities and dignitaries on March 6th at the Warehouse in a roundtable discussion with President Trump about the future of college athletics. As much as I want college athletics to get fixed, there's other things I'd rather be facing or dealing with here. And I don't think this group's going to get anything done. They're going to look at NIL. They're going to look at the portal stuff. But and by the way, why are some of these guys involved? So the president's going to chair the group. No shock there. Ron DeSantis and Yankees President Randy Levine, two well-known college sports figures are the vice chairs. And according to a source, they provided a list of 35 people who received invitations. The list also includes Tiger Woods, well known around college football and basketball circles. Nick Saban, makes sense. Mac Brown, makes sense. Urban Meyer, makes sense. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, who was a member of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Fair. Jonathan Kraft. Adam Silver. Sports. The sports guys, presidents, I guess I get because of all the money spending. Eric Shanks from Fox. ESPN chairman Jimmy Petreo. Athletic directors I get. Pete Bavacqua being one of them. Former athletes. Tim Tebow. Charlie Ward. I guess I get it. So it's unknown who of these people I just mentioned. There's some others we didn't mention that who will attend. I don't know what they expect to get done on a Friday afternoon with so many different people and different backgrounds. What are they even going to? What's the agenda? By the way, also expect to attend is billionaire businessman Cody Campbell, chairman of Texas Tech's Board of Regents and former college football player who's been working on a Saving College Sports campaign and involved in discussions about a possible roundtable for about a year. What are we going to talk about? I don't want Capitol Hill involved in sports. It's bad enough now. Let's not make it worse. I'm interested to see what this agenda will be and what they think they're going to accomplish. This looks like a photo op for everybody. Or it could turn into something really, really stupid. Be very interesting anyway. In any event, guys, I think we'll call it a close. We'll call things to a close there. Who's out here? Anybody else we haven't chatted about? I guess not. We've covered everything we can cover, I guess, today. I'm going to go up and get myself one more cup of coffee. Get ready to take a little walk. You guys enjoy your Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow morning with Jack and Keith's weekend playbook. And other than that, enjoy your Sunday. A good one. Have a guy. Thanks for watching here on the McGrath Podcast Network. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.